It's been nearly 50 years since the Roe versus Wade ruling legalized abortion across the United States.
Here to break down the new challenges now to that Supreme Court ruling is Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh boy. First Alabama, then Missouri enacting these stricter laws. Why now? Why is this all being challenged now?
Well, right about now, the timing is everything. You have a balance of passion and precedent in terms of, is the momentum going to outweigh the math regarding how the Supreme Court is currently constituted with a conservative majority? Many of these cases that you see are specifically designed to be taken up and to maybe not challenge Roe directly, because every justice that has been confirmed has really evinced their respect for settled law, for settled precedent. So it is unlikely that's where we're headed. Nonetheless, what everybody, well, I shouldn't say everybody, because one of the things that the last couple of weeks has demonstrated is how many pro-lifers we have, because we've actually seen a lot of support for these bills. But the fight, the dueling narratives is on to see what the Supreme Court will do with some of these more restrictive laws. But in the short term, every one of these laws is likely to be blocked as these laws are challenged and as both sides prepare their arguments to see exactly what the Supreme Court is going to do with them.
And now it looks like, so, you know, there was Alabama, there was Missouri, now South Carolina, I feel like is on the same route, but I don't think their Senate will be able to vote on that until next year. But what do these recent bills mean for the rest of the country? Because now that there's this uptick for pro-life, there's this movement, it seems like. What does this mean?
Well, what it means, Chris, is that we'll probably see more states following suit in terms of re-examining the laws they have on the books. Now, constitutionally, the Supreme Court needs a good issue to agree to hear one of these cases. So as these issues are raised across the states, whether it's in California and New York or wherever else they're going to pick up on this momentum, has to be something of constitutional significance that would interest the Supreme Court. In other words, they're not just going to take up anything. I mean, they've got plenty on their docket as is. However, there are already cases percolating through the system that they probably will agree to hear. Their decisions in those cases may inform the rest of the nation regarding how they should challenge the laws that are currently on the books in the rest of the states.
A lot of people, when they hear these states passing these laws, for them, they figure, but I thought Roe v. Wade was, and you hear this term a lot, the law of the land. And it's been that way for almost 50 years, 45 years, I believe. So what do these states, the significance of what they're doing, they know full well Roe v. Wade, law of the land. So is it about us making a statement, or do they truly believe the Supreme Court will make a change?
Both, Raul, and I'm glad you asked that question. There are many that have said very publicly, you've heard some of the governors, they understand they're making a statement, that it's symbolic, that Roe is the law of the land, and they understand that a court is going to block this law until it's fully litigated. But on the other hand, you're also correct in that some of these laws are specifically being changed, designed to head to the Supreme Court and actually be either upheld or overturned. But the Supreme Court is likely going to pick and choose very carefully. They're probably not going to agree to hear a case that flat out outlaws abortion, because that would require them to take the unprecedented step of overturning that case. It's more likely they'll agree to hear cases that have restrictions on abortion, regulate abortion in a way that one side or the other alleges that is unconstitutional. That's, as a practical matter, what we're more likely to see.
And then Brett Kavanaugh being appointed to the Supreme Court. How does this factor into these decisions?
Highly, Chris. I'm glad you asked that, because Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing, as you'll recall, and we've covered it here, the three of us, focused uniquely on abortion because everyone understood that he really could shift the balance. But what did he say? He said he respected settled law as well and wasn't going to simply look for a reason to overturn Roe. So given that that has been what he's publicly expressed, that's probably not the way these laws are designed. In other words, that you'd have to have a really great constitutional issue to be able to overturn something like Roe. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they want to look at what inroads are being made with some of these laws in the different states.
Okay.
We'll be talking about this again, is my prediction. This is the end of this.
That is
Absolutely.
a safe bet. Wendy Patrick, we thank you so much for the insight.